Hey everybody, welcome to episode 38 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. My name is Bill Pivots. If you guys can, follow me on Twitter at bpiv_sports. Subscribe and rate to this podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Podomatic, whatever, wherever you guys get your podcasts. Would be greatly appreciated. Spread the word. Also, this podcast is on YouTube, so if you don't have any of those services, feel free to go to youtube.com and search for my podcast there as well. So this week was a very entertaining episode. There was a lot of noteworthy segments that took place, and a lot of bad ones as well. The main event was Finn Balor versus Apollo Crews for the NXT Championship. But before that happened, our first match was Asuka versus Cameron. Cameron, previously one of the Funkadactyls, broke out on her own, can't wrestle. She's the one from Tough Enough that said Melina versus Alicia Fox was her favorite match. So I think that's enough of her backstory. When she came out, Cameron didn't get the best reaction, but the first thing I thought of was, who did she piss off to have to face Asuka in her first match in NXT? Because I wouldn't want to face her anytime, to be honest. I wouldn't want to face her if I had a partner. I wouldn't want to face her in a dark alley. I just wouldn't want to go up against her, because the things she can do in the ring, it's amazing. So at the beginning of the match, Asuka caught Cameron's leg, but she slowly put it down just to give her a little break. Cameron went to slap Asuka, but in the blink of an eye, she turned that slap into an armbar, and the reaction the crowd gave was amazing. They popped because they thought Asuka got slapped or whatever. She fell down, but next thing you know, she's locking in the armbar, and the whole front, I think it was the first 4 rows or so, just stood to their feet in amazement. And it was in the first minute of the match, and this spot was probably the best of the match. Cameron was on offense for a little bit before Asuka landed 3 rear-end attacks, kind of like a hip thrust, something Naomi used to do back in the day. She then hit 3 back elbows and a running kick to the head, and then she finished it off with the Asuka lock. Wow. Like I said, that first spot just had me. Asuka continues to impress me. Not that she needs to impress me per se, because she doesn't give a shit about what I think, but just how fluid she is in the ring. I've never seen any of her stuff in Japan, so just seeing how well she's adapted to WWE style. Not to say she's WWE style, but to the competitors in the ring that she's facing that have learned WWE style, how she's working well with them. Just like I said, her fluid motion in the ring, just going from one move to the other, and how quickly she's gotten over with the NXT crowd, just continues to impress me. She hasn't cut a promo since her first match. Not even her first match. Her first appearance with William Regal. She hasn't said a word on the mic yet, and that's probably the best part about this, is she's not saying anything. She's just going in there, kicking ass, and making people shit their pants because of how great she is. And I just can't wait to see what Asuka and Emma can do, most likely at TakeOver next month. It's just going to be a really good match, because we know Emma can have good matches. Just look at her previous match. I think it was the first TakeOver with Paige for the NXT Women's Championship. So she definitely has it in her. It should be a good match nonetheless. We then got highlights of the Dash and Dawson attack on Enzo and Cass. Tom Phillips tried to interview Carmella, but Dash and Dawson then interrupted. She walked away a little bit, and then Dawson said they finally get their opportunity next week at the Tag Team Champions. So next week will be Dash and Dawson versus the Vaudevillains for the NXT Tag Team titles. Next segment was a backstage promo from Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. Jordan said that people are still talking about NXT Respect, but they aren't the champs yet. Gable calmed down, saying that they're trending up and that they're on the incline, and people will soon be calling them the world's greatest tag team. But before he can get that phrase out, Jason Jordan cut him off and reminded him not to say that. That was the best part of this, just to play on knowing that people are calling them the world's greatest tag team ripoffs, or that they have similarities. It was just a great part of that segment, just knowing that and acknowledging that people are saying that. Then brought up a challenge to the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions, The Ascension. So I don't know if that match is happening next week or in a couple weeks, but it'll be Ascension versus Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. And as much as I hate the Ascension, I'm pretty sure Gable and Jordan could get a decent match out of them. So it shouldn't be too bad. Second match was Bull Dempsey versus Angelo Dawkins. Bull had some new music. It was good. I liked it a lot, but it still had that annoying Bull in the background. They need to get rid of that, because I think we know who Bull Dempsey is. We don't need his name screaming at us 15 times when he's entering the ring. The crowd was pretty much quiet during this whole match, and I really don't blame them. Bull Dempsey's a comedy character. No one cares about Angelo Dawkins. So this match was pretty much a throwaway. Bull won with his top rope splash. And after the match, Sawyer Fulton was actually at ringside. He looked a little disappointed at Dawkins and then walked away, leaving him hanging. There's really nothing going on here. Typical jobber match. Bull Dempsey, yay. Tom Phillips then interviewed the Vaudevillains, following them up with what Dash and Dawson said. Aiden English said that they will be their toughest challenge to date. Simon Gotch said that they weren't gentlemen and that they would retain their title as NXT Tag Team Champions. They then showed Apollo Crews in the locker room. He stood up and stared at the NXT Championship before walking out. Question, why doesn't Finn Balor have his NXT Championship with him, and who would leave it in the locker room just like that? Unless the only thing I can think of is that he was in the shower and he's not bringing the title with him, but other than that, there's no reason for him to leave the title hanging around like that. Tom Phillips was a busy man because after that he caught up with Bayley and asked if she was able to find partners for the 6-person tag with Alexa Bliss and Blake and Murphy. She found some partners and they were the Hype Bros. Yeah, so you could tell my excitement went way down after she brought up the Hype Bros. Not a fan of them. She could have found 2 other people. I get the Vaudevillains are tied up right now with Dash and Dawson, but there's got to be another team on the NXT roster that she could have found. But whatever. Third match was the returning Ava Marie against Gianna. I didn't get her name. She had the jobber entrance, which means she didn't get an entrance. They didn't say her name at all on commentary, so I have no idea who she is. But I saw her Instagram. The WWE NXT Twitter tweeted it out. It's like Gianna something, I forget, but she's from Jersey. She's only 21 years old, and she's already a much better wrestler than Ava Marie. Gianna landed a nice enziguri and a couple drop kicks off the ropes. It sounded like they were chanting Carly, but like I said, I looked it up later. They were chanting Gianna. I don't know how I got them confused, but regardless. She ran at Ava, who was in the corner, but Ava completely missed with a big boot. She barely got her foot 2 feet off the ground. I give credit to Gianna, or whatever her name is, for going along with it and playing along with the botch. But other than that, it was a really, really bad match. Ava then botched her next finish. Early in the match, she actually botched a jumping DDT. I don't know why they keep pushing her. She ended up getting the win, regardless of all that. But the crowd actually chanted, "What was that?" The crowd actually chanted, "What was that?" after the big boot, because I had no idea what it was. It wasn't a big boot like I've seen before, like from Test or Kane or anyone like that. It wasn't a kick. Kind of like she stuck her foot somewhat in the air, and Gianna ran into it. But whatever, it didn't look good. It was a crappy match, and like I said, this was one of the worst parts of the show tonight. Tom Phillips then interviewed Emma and Dana. He asked if Emma was scared of Asuka. She said no, but she has all of her respect. Dana said the same thing and wants to get back in the ring with her, but Emma told her to wait in line. So they obviously are building to Asuka and Emma. It's going to happen at TakeOver. There should be no reason they waste this match on a NXT taping. So most likely in London, we'll see Asuka versus Emma. The other thing I noticed is that Dana didn't actually have a pound of makeup on her face and was actually pretty decent looking. This is the route they got to go. They can't pancake her with all that makeup, turning her a different color, with all that lipstick and stuff. I don't know, it's unappealing to me at least. And after that, we finally got our main event of Finn Balor versus Apollo Crews. They actually got a nice entrance, like a ring entrance. Both men were standing in the center of the ring. The lights went dark, spotlight on them as Greg Hamilton made their introduction. So it was actually a pretty cool setup for a match that only had a couple weeks of build. They wrestled a little bit before they went to their first commercial break. Back from break, Crews had Balor in a headlock. Neither man was able to build a lot of offense on it. They traded moves, counters, back and forth. Balor landed a nice senton over the top rope onto Crews, and they went to their second commercial break. Back from this is actually where the match started to pick up a little bit. A lot of high spots, a lot of big-time moves here. Balor had Crews in the corner. He landed a huge clothesline. Crews then caught Balor off the ropes with a nice Samoan drop. Balor received a heel kick, and he came back with the sling blade off the ropes. He went for the shotgun drop kick, but Crews came out of the corner and hit a lariat. Crews then hit his press slam, but Balor put his knees up, blocking the moonsault. Balor was able to connect with reverse Bloody Sunday and the shotgun drop kick, but Crews moved out of the way from coup de grace. He landed a nice kick, and then Balor connected with the Pele kick on his way down, and both men laid on the mat for a little bit. It was just a lot to cover in a short amount of time. It was just move, counter, reverse, block, switch up momentum, that kind of thing. So it was just a lot to cover. But it was actually worth it because the match was already going on for 6-7 minutes at this point, so they needed to let everything out. But as both men were getting to their feet, Baron Corbin ran down and attacked both men. He went for Crews first, threw him out of the ring and into the steel steps. He then went after Finn Balor. Samoa Joe ran down, making the save. Corbin went up the ramp. Those two were staring at each other for a little bit. Corbin smiled, said something to Joe, and then walked away. Joe was standing in the ring for a little bit. Balor was making his way up to his feet, and Samoa Joe attacked Finn Balor. He went after him, punches, kicks, all that kind of stuff. He then set him up in the corner and hit the Muscle Buster, grabbed the NXT title, and laid it over Balor as he walked away. So, we finally have it. We have the Samoa Joe heel turn. Like I said, you guys probably noticed it as well. We had a lot of hints at this was going to happen when Samoa Joe called him out, saying he wants a shot at the title. Some of the tendencies he had during the Battle Royal, little facial reactions, that kind of stuff that I actually picked up on. I don't know, you guys did. That I just noticed that they were going to turn him sooner rather than later. And it actually, I liked it a lot. I was not expecting the Baron Corbin run-in, but when Samoa Joe finally made his way out there, I knew something was going to happen because they were just building at the tension a little bit. And it's actually cool because they actually saved the Apollo Crews Finn Balor match for another date. Just as this match was getting going, you had Baron Corbin ruin it, so they could always go back to Crews and Finn Balor at a later date. Because the fans really didn't get much out of this. One, it wasn't a takeover special, so they weren't going to go all out like we've seen from title matches in the past. Two, you had Baron Corbin cost him, so Apollo Crews can sure as hell ask for another match because he was gypped of his opportunity. So there's a lot going on. And I actually think this leads to 2 matches for the London special. Obviously, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, and Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews, because obviously Baron Corbin cost Crews the title match. So they have that feud already embedded. So you have your 2 main events pretty much for TakeOver London. But other than that, it was a decent episode. Like I said, the Asuka match was really good just for the fact that she just continues to impress me in the ring. The main event, although it wasn't a full match, we got a cheap finish. The fact that they set up 2 matches leading into TakeOver was well done. The post-match angle with the attack. Some of the fans actually saw it coming, so they were shushing the crowd, but the fact that it actually happened, the crowd was riled up. They were chanting, "Why, Joe, why?" So we'll have to wait for next week or whenever for Samoa Joe to cut his promo on why he did it. But other than that, the Bull and Ava match were whatever. Bull Dempsey, I'm not interested in his character. There's really nothing compelling about it. And Ava Marie sucks. But next week, we do have the NXT Tag Team Championship match between Dash and Dawson and the Vaudevillains. And they didn't make an announcement if the 6-man tag match was happening next week. I wouldn't be surprised if it does. Maybe one too many tag matches. But we do have that to look forward to as well. And before I go, I just want to say that I wish Seth Rollins a speedy recovery. If you guys didn't hear, in a match in Ireland, he suffered a torn ACL, MCL, and something other muscle in his knee. Medial meniscus, I believe it was. So he'll be out for 6 to 9 months. They made an announcement that he will have to forfeit the WWE Championship. And at Survivor Series, they will have a tournament to determine the new champion. So if you guys remember, if you were old enough, back in 1998, they had what they called the Deadly Games tournament, where The Rock won the WWF Championship after the corporation turned on Mankind. So The Rock went heel. He became the corporate champion. And being Survivor Series, 17 years later or so, we're going to have another tournament at Survivor Series. So it'll be interesting to see who they put as WWE champion. 6 months from now, you got December, January, February, March, April, May. The earliest Seth Rollins can come back is May or next SummerSlam if they go the full 9 months. It sucks. He was a really good champion, really good in-ring worker. But we just got to move on and see who steps up for WWE. But that was episode 38. I'll be back with episode 39 next week. Same time, same place. Peace.